Yep, mine works.
Okay.
Did you guys push the on button?
Oh, they're not on auto anymore. No.
The speaker thingy. Oh, which
Oh,
one?
you might be able to.
Testing, testing.
Yep, that's the right one.
Oh.
There you go.
The big long red one? The big long one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, but then they're always going to be.
It's going to be on all the time. It's not on automatic. Soon.
Most of them only have one big button.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll do our best to battle through that.
Mine's on.
You're on.
I'm on.
Well, I'll go over to see Dennis when we need to say something.
You can, you want to sit here?
No, Dennis just has to
What about now?
restate.
Testing.
Testing, testing.
Yeah, push the button.
Did you push? Yeah.
Yep.
So you're
There we go.
Sounds like
It's over feedback. It's trying to.
It's gonna, yeah.
So is this negative thing?
No, that's just if you plugged it into the headset.
So when you talk, you just push the button. So they're not all feeding the same.
Oh, is that the problem? So we need, okay.
Okay. Roll call, please, Michelle.
Kevin?
The minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes as presented by Michelle and Bonnie?
From February, excuse me, from,
February, March 11th. March 11th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, draft 1 for March 11, 2026.
Support?
We have a motion to adopt the minutes from March 11th by Nick, revision 1, and seconded by Tracy Pwinski. Do we have any further discussion?
Tracy? Yes. Kevin?
yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Dennis?
yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Move into our public comment area of the evening. Have anybody with a public comment, anything to add or any information or topics you want to bring to the forum? Any thoughts? Okay. As mentioned by Bonnie, the next item would be a late agenda item. It was the audit performed by Caitlin and Wade Trim. She presented that to us earlier this week. It did not make the packet. You should have a rather weighty package of items. She went through the zoning or current zoning ordinance as it stands pretty much on a line-by-line basis and made some comments, concerns, things that are redundant, things that are potential areas for problems in the future. I read through about half of it without the zoning ordinance in front of me, and you really need to go through it with the zoning ordinance. It will not mean much without it. I guess the floor is yours, Caitlin.
Okay, so the intent behind providing this audit was part of our phase one, essentially, of evaluating if we need to do a zoning ordinance update or what level that we're looking to do that update. So it's about 35 pages of different changes that are potentially proposed. One section I specifically did not do yet is the use requirements section, and that's because I want to check what uses we all agree upon before then I go in and then make all these changes. If we just remove a use or consolidate a use, it changes what comments I would have on those. But what we would be looking for is then the Planning Commission to make a recommendation then to the Township Board on if we should move forward with phase two, which is actually discussing the audit. I had proposed doing that in a subcommittee format, so it'd be a couple members from the Planning Commission, could be a couple members from the Township Board, staff. You could include other members of the business community or things of that nature if you wanted to, but a subcommittee to go over the zoning ordinance, go through this entire list of edits, and then we would start then drafting those based on those general audit decisions. And that would all, the drafting and the review, that would all go through the Planning Commission.
But that would be once the township board approves funding.
Correct. So they would need to authorize phase two, which is where we do all the meetings, and then we do the drafting and things of that nature.
So in your bird's eye, maybe there's people who don't understand, as in depth as we do from working on it, what shape of it? Because that was kind of, I mean, we all think it's a lot of work, but the point behind the township board, I think, wanting to do the audit was to really see kind of a dumbed down version of where do we stand? Are we in, you know, we know we're not in good shape. Are we in workable shape? Is it bad? Is it really bad? I know what we mostly think, but I guess for kind of everybody out there, your professional view, where do you stand?
A little, I would say on the more worse off side than I would have thought when I originally went into the audit. Most of my audits are in the upper 20s, low 30s. You guys automatically got to 35 pages, and that's not even completed. And so some of those were legal components. So like your definition of family, you have to have two definitions to have a functional family and an actual family unit. You only have family unit, you don't have a functional family. So there's some legal components that are missing there. There's a lot of different duplications of different things where it's just contrary on different sections that I think that causes some difficulty. There's some gaps in what you would typically regulate that I think would be more helpful to alleviate that. There's some new ideas that you currently don't speak to and you could choose to speak to. There's a lot of different table of use recommendations with consolidation and new uses you just don't address that I think could be easier to address. So I would say we're not in a great spot from a usability standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. I think the board was looking for the magnitude of this effort.
I think we kind of knew, but that kind of
Just,
clears it up.
I think it substantiates the thinking of the 7 members of the planning commission.
I'm going to make a statement here because it's going to be asked. how did they get this bad with our previous planners and you at the helm as well?
Well, I would say.
I'm playing devil's advocate
Sure.
here.
No, but
not-
I'm expecting that question. That's a fair question to ask. I was not actually at the helm at that time. These are done by my predecessors when I worked at Row. And so I think one of the things that when Wade Trim does an edit and myself do an edit is we have already done the input into making checklists for ourselves. And this included the cross section of 3 to 4 other planners of my CalPOR and above, where we said these are all the things we should be looking for when we're doing a zoning ordinance update. So though it is me looking through your zoning ordinance, it actually is 4 different minds that have already been through it. And so when I'm going through and purging that, I'm basing it on the Wade Trim's guidelines and making sure it is a very thorough review. It's not just me sitting down and going through it. So I think part of it is how Wade Trim handles that audit process. We have a better system. We've put in the input before it comes to a client base to say, what is everything we should be really combing for and alerting the client of?
If you look at it, Kevin, when I went and presented it to the board earlier, a long time back, it's a 1992 document. It's got 174 amendments to it. So I think the perception was if as long as you're making amendments, you're updating the document. But it wasn't as comprehensive as even the 35-page audit to begin with. So it's a valid question, but
She's going to be asked it, so I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure we all understand what her answer is going to be.
And I think the other thing that might be helpful is to have a summary from you on top of this document, because unless you go through and you know which ones are legal and which ones are, gee, you probably might want to think about this kind of a thing. So I think you need to say there's X number of serious issues that need to be addressed. Kind of a boilerplate, because when anybody is going to look at this document, they're not going to know which one has to be changed, which one should be changed, which one we can live without. So I really think that maybe they're going to need to know from you, yes, it's bad, but how much legal work needs to be done, how much other stuff needs to be done just to get us in compliance. Because that's what our feeling was, that we kind of got left behind in compliance. We haven't been looking at it in compliance. And we're worried that, with all the regulations that are coming down the pike now, we're picking them up and putting them down just to keep up. But we're not looking at every corner of the ordinance either. So.
Sure. And I know specifically the sign article that's not following content neutrality. I think at that time, the Planning Commission, when they decided they had just finished it, and then that court case came out, or that ruling did, or things of that nature, and they chose not to go back and redo all of that content neutrality, and signs haven't been touched since. And then there hasn't been any legal concern associated with it, but we still have real estate sign, political signs. There are specifics that you have to do for content neutrality that isn't addressed there. So that's something that I can do, is just kind of better itemize that seriousness and make it a little bit easier to answer before they have to look through 35 pages. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Will that be available? You should be able to make that available for the next meeting.
So the next township board meeting I would be eligible for is not next Tuesday, or is it
Monday.
next Monday?
Our meeting. Before our next.
This is-
So we were, oh,
I think, back to Kevin's point, I think the plan was this board reviews it and makes a recommendation to the township board. And some of you just got it tonight, right? And to Caitlin's point, you're still working on the requirements.
so I purposely did not do that yet because I need us to have a buy-in on what uses we're going to do for the table of uses. So some of those I recommend a combat or a merger of use terms. Other situations, I say we should pull those out. So for like example, we have retail establishments is a broad term. You can break that into two different sizes based on the size of the retail development. There's a difference between what we have currently as a grocery store and like a Mega Mire coming in. And so we may want to treat that differently from a zoning standpoint, in which we pull those out separate. If we do that, then I'm going to have use recommendations that would be different for those, but I need the uses to be ironed out first before we do that. So this audit is what I would present to the township board. I think that's appropriate to that level, and the rest of it makes more sense once we get rolling on actually going through the audit and making those decisions. Then it makes sense to go back through and add those components to the audit.
Then on your cover letter, could you make it clear that there's certain areas that have not been addressed, such as the sign
Yep.
and the uses, so that they're aware of the fact that this is 35 pages that still doesn't address the entire ordinance then?
Because ultimately, it goes back to that seriousness question too. If we're not going to do an update, there's no point in me doing some of that audit components to it, to the individual uses. Because that's the only thing that makes sense is if you're going to go through and do everything, then sure, makes sense to itemize all those. And I'm happy to do the cover letter that kind of better makes that more straightforward what the census is. I don't know that the planning commission has to review that before it goes to the township board, but if you'd like to, I'm happy to do that.
So what is our date that we're looking for before the updated fee from Wade Trim?
So we would evaluate it for July, because that's when our fee schedule is adjusted from our.
Because I'm just looking, if we get this back again next month, the planning commission meeting is after the board meeting, that would put this to the township board at their June meeting. So they would have no time, if they want to table it, that would get into, the price can change, which most likely will change. I thought we were reviewing this tonight and hopefully sending it to the township board for Monday.
This is not on the agenda for township board because we're 2 members short. Monday night, there's so the hot topics, and again, it goes back to, we want a full 7-member board at the township board to approve the funding.
Yeah,
I'd like to go.
but if we get no action on this, the township board can't, if we don't have action on this tonight, the township board won't even see this in till June.
That's the dilemma. That is a dilemma.
And I don't think a cover letter is gonna help us. I mean, I think we know where we stand with this.
Well, I have to be honest, I haven't had a chance to look at it, so I really,
Right.
I just got it, so I haven't looked at it.
I mean,
Did everybody else get a chance to go through it? I mean, if I'm the only one. So, you know, if I'm the only one, if everybody else has gone through it and they're comfortable sending it on, that's.
I mean, you know, all transparency, not especially, but my stance didn't change seeing this audit. I kind of knew where we were a year ago.
Right.
This was more, I guess, in my opinion, I thought more for the township board than for us.
if you want to make a motion to forward it along, Nick, I mean, I'll entertain that.
I'd make a motion to forward this to the township board for their review and at least give them, maybe it can even be discussed as late agenda or a discussion in the comments on Monday, and then the whole board will have essentially an entire month to look over it before the full board votes on it.
Second it, or,
I'll support it.
okay, the motion is, Nick made a motion to forward this report as it stands,
I'd like to see the bullet pointed cover letter.
with the bullet pointed cover letter.
Is that something that you can turn around by Monday?
Hold on. And it's been supported by Dennis. Discussion.
Is that something that you can do by Monday?
attend the board meeting Monday?
Well, if you're not making a decision, does it make sense for me to attend Monday?
No, probably not. Okay.
Maybe, you know, would be good for Caitlin to attend. Hopefully this
Yes.
would get action at the May board meeting.
Roger, yep.
Because the cover letter, when there's actually more of a summary to it, I mean, that I'm going to write it in a way so it is more straightforward, and maybe they don't even need me at May, I don't know. But part of it is we're not going into the policy decision making. Is there enough policy making questions that now we need to engage in doing more of the process?
Yeah, I think the dilemma for the board would be that the planning commission has not had adequate time to review it and make a recommendation to the board before the May meeting. So we'd still kick it into June, unless we had a special meeting. That would be the option.
Well, I would like to see that happen instead of waiting till July. If it's necessitated to have a special meeting.
I agree with you, Kevin. It's unfortunate that the chips fell where they are, because it's ideal that if everyone had a chance. I'm with Bonnie on this. I think I've got in about 5 pages of this thing. It's very thorough.
Yeah, and I sat down with it while I was at an appointment that I had an hour to kill, and I went through it, and it, took almost an hour to get through 17 pages. But I did not even have the benefit. I did have it on my tablet, but I didn't open it up. I did not have a paper copy of the zoning ordinance with me to compare them. I had an electronic copy, but I didn't use it. So I think this proposal as it stands would probably be a good idea, at least to give it to them with the summary
Monday?
Monday.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be any actionable item taken Monday. I get that because it's a late agenda item and they have not had a chance to review it. But at least it's on the public record that they have a copy of it and can at least review it.
Right.
And we can send them another report if we have a special meeting.
Yeah.
A little deeper. At least they have the nuts and bolts to start reviewing.
Yeah.
35 pages before the May meeting.
We have a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Bonnie,
No.
Tracy. Yes. Leo,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Motion carries. We will submit it to the township board with the cover letter and bullet point list by Caitlin of the different areas that need attention, a synopsis, if you will. And, we'll put this back on the agenda for next meeting, please, item. And we'll follow up in
I know this was a sticking point at the last special meeting we had. Do we request that now, or is it? Because it was two members, or do we do that, or should we do that during general comment?
we could do it then, but I would like to do it I would like to go to Monday's meeting
Okay.
to
Okay.
understand the reception. And if Monday's meeting, if the reception, whatever it may be, warrants special meeting, I'll call a special meeting.
I just remember the last special meeting, it was quite the shenanigans, so
Right.
I wanted to make sure we did it right.
Okay. We have no introductions. Public hearing. So new business, sure lot storage, changing ownership, which requires, the SOU that it has been granted requires a new ownership. And for the board, talk about their plans, talk about their ideas. So, welcome, Shelley from Sherlock Storage.
We were just wondering if we got a notice about coming in to look at one of our buildings. And we were wondering if you guys thought it was the one that's not longer in, because of our sign that we have on.
I personally don't know anything about that.
Yeah, my boss also got an email, and that's what we thought we were coming here about, to have it inspected, our building. I think he sent you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the building code requires an inspection when a new owner occupies a building, existing building.
Okay.
That's all that is. It's just he goes in, makes sure everything is working. You haven't got any gas leaks, water leaks, that sort of thing. Everything is code compliant. That's all they're doing.
But that's not a function of the planning commission.
No.
That's a function of the
Building
building department.
Yeah.
Okay. What the new owners were required to do by township ordinance was to present themselves in front of the township planning commission, just introduce themselves, tell us what their new business is going to be, if it's going to be different than what the current uses are, to allow us to help them make sure that they're conforming to this special land use, the SLU. Okay, so are you prepared tonight to do that?
So I believe you all got the changes that you had requested. Hopefully you've all got a chance to go through them.
Yes.
Does anybody have any more corrections?
No, I went through line by line and I thought they were,
This is going to be a problem. I thought they were wonderful. I thought you covered everything that we talked about, and I purposely, I went over it with a fine-tooth comb and I couldn't see anything. Punctuation, typos, it's all excellent.
So we have to adopt this? Is that what we're doing?
yes. I'll make a motion to adopt the bylaws of the Almont Township Planning Commission as amended November, no, let's see.
Bottom, April 8th.
April 8th. It's not in bold. April 8th.
Support.
Supported by Tracy. Further discussion, additional information, or anything else needs to be brought to light? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Well done, Bonnie.
Thank you.
That was a very large job. Well, needed.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask, does the planning commission wish to have put that in a booklet or something I can do, or are they good with what they have?
I believe we have a bound format
Yes,
previous. I would assume that. we
they're just
follow.
gonna, okay,
I would believe we would follow suit, do the same thing.
Okay, so you want a new book, or do you want to just add it to what you have?
I'm capable of adding it to what I have. I don't know.
Does anybody else need a new book?
I'm good.
It does go to the township board
have
though,
one?
correct?
It does have to
Okay,
go to the board.
so Tom and Leo, I would imagine you need, okay.
It does have to go to the board.
So is that part of the motion then, or is that just a given?
We've adopted it, now it has to go to the board to be approved.
It's just a matter of procedure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we, make a note and also add this to our wonderful online portfolio? I think it might be good that the community has access, and if any of us want to see an electronic copy, I mean, I imagine it's electronic.
It will be when it's adopted.
Yeah, when they adopt it.
Yeah, it was adopted by the.
If anyone hasn't noticed, I'm big on having this stuff. You post it online, so
I'll-
it's easy to
I'll
access
tell
and easy
you.
for people to
You
find.
won't get an argument on me. I'm, this is not any slight on you. I don't know why our agendas aren't on there before the
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah,
There now.
yeah.
I looked yesterday, I couldn't find it.
I don't know what Jen did that was, I have it set from you, I sent it to Jen.
Okay. Well, if it is, fantastic. I think that's wonderful. There was some online discussion I was having with several people, and I would have liked to give it, or at least a link to the agenda. I couldn't find it.
Along with the exhibit that went with this, which was the actual ordinance creating the planning commission that they referred to, there was an article, something in here, remember? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, so it needs to be part of this,
you want ordinance 55 is part of it.
because it's referenced in the document.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's old business number one. Old business number two. Planners review on proposed draft number 7.
So
Energy ordinance.
So nothing new tonight. I did miss the attorney. She tried calling me Tuesday, and so I have a phone call scheduled with her for Thursday afternoon of this week. So I would say our general notion is if after that conversation they say we're fine with legally backing what is drafted, then we would proceed with the public hearing at our next meeting. If they say, actually, we're concerned about this, that's when we would say, well, you need to then draft something in writing to then bring to the planning commission or come to the planning commission meeting just so you can talk through that with them. But that was my understanding of the tentative direction based on that conversation. And I think something either way would come next month for you. Is that an accurate representation of the direction you would like me to take?
I believe that was what we talked about.
Yeah, because we wanted the attorney to opine on this first before we move forward with anything, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. But so we couldn't set the public hearing?
If we have to make amendments to it next meeting, then we don't want a public hearing next meeting.
Right, so I'm just trying to figure out.
So I'm
was-
going to talk to the attorney. Let's say that they're like, there is, I think we should strike 3 of these provisions that I flagged as something that was a potential legal concern. If they say we want to strip those, I'd say, okay, then this needs to be talked with the planning commission about. If they say, I understand why you brought it up as a legal concern, but this, that, or the other, then that's something I'd say, okay, then more or less given a blessing, and now we're going to go then to public hearing.
For personal preference, I need to step out for a minute. 7:34.
Are we under the gun for the public hearing? Because I would just as soon make sure that we've got our ducks in a row before we go to public hearing.
I think that
I
was what
agree.
we talked about, because if there was some large legal issue that totally changed, a chunk of it, that we didn't want to have the public hearing first. If it's some language, I don't think that's,
Now, this is a complicated document. I don't
I don't see it
suspect
here.
it's gonna, no, I think we're gonna see some legal challenges. Okay.
So, we'll set the public hearing next meeting after we beat it up some more.
Hopefully the legal challenges are cut and dry though, just for the sake of getting this done, not more gray. Hopefully they come back with, you can't do this, it should be this, and we can just kind of
Yeah.
follow that.
What's your experience?
Well, so I'm not a municipal attorney, but some of it is what legal risk are you willing to do? Different communities, when the marijuana stuff was going on, as far as primary caregivers, different communities are willing to draw different lines in the sand. And so not every community got sued, and not every community got struck down because of what they chose to say, this is our community values, this is what we're gonna let people do or not do. And so for a lot of these other two alternative energy discussions, that's really what it comes down to is we are willing to legally fight about it. We understand our attorneys' potential concerns, and then you need to make that policy decision. So the attorney, as well as I and other consultants, we serve at your pleasure, and you don't always have to take our advice. And so that's something that if there is legal challenge or they have those concerns, I think it makes sense that those are expressed specifically to the township. And then if they're very minor in nature editations, then that is something that makes sense to move forward with the public hearing. But is it correct that either way you would just like to see it at the next planning commission without it and declare it as ready for public hearing? That's what I heard is the changing tone, is we want to either way review it and then at the next meeting declare it as ready.
Well, I think unless the attorney comes back and says it's great, then I don't think there's a reason to see it again. Like Dennis said, I don't see that happening.
I don't
They
either.
come back and say there's no legal issues, and I don't see why we don't just move ahead with the public hearing.
But either way, I'd like the attorney's recommendation in writing.
So we would set the public hearing at the next meeting then?
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
Correct.
Yeah, so either way.
Either way.
So May for June.
Yep, so that's just the update. No action is necessary for that item on the agenda.
I apologize. Glenn Bryan was back in at 7:30. Thank you, Caitlin, for the update. We were patiently waiting for our attorney's review. Stress that.
Was it impatiently waiting?
Basically, yes. Not that we have anything enough yet tonight. The floor is yours for the plan review.
So nothing otherwise in your packet. We are doing our weight trim training tomorrow, so I believe several of you are attending. Excited to see you there, and it'll be a very good time. That's correct. It's at Emily City's Fire Hall. It includes our other clients that are in Lapeer County that'll be there. So we're expecting at least 45 people.
It's a nice room. I think that's some of the other people from the township for other reasons. It's a nice room. Yeah, it's a good resource. Corey, engineering report. Corey, Avery.
Yes, thank you. I know there's some questions. based on the report, we did do a round of inspections in March. There really hasn't been much activity, we didn't really anticipate that. We did have a little stretch of decent weather. Sometimes they get out and get excited and start doing some work out there. The Country Smokehouse, we had multiple back and forth, but we haven't had any indication. I think we're still waiting is the long term with the as-built and clarification of detention. So we had a little phone tag back and forth. That has not been resolved as of yet. Already movement on that as far as the as-built is concerned. And I will say, going back to the files, because this one does have a long history, there was an as-built at some point that was provided. It did include the information requested for the change in the detention area. So that was a little part of the stuff we were really talking about. Originally, if you remember, that plan had a large pond and different areas, and they were proposing to spread it out using existing contour for that, which we've always said is possible. We just needed to see it and have it maintained and easy.
You may be able to help me here. When was his last extension? And what impact does that have on his permits and things? Do they expire?
There are no permits on the job. It's just basically a site plan that, as Corey mentioned, we're looking for an as-built. Technically, according to our ordinance, he is in violation. We have been trying very diligently trying to get this completed. It's not been successful. I can certainly send another notice to him, letting him know that he has 30 days in which to comply, or he'll have to. The township is, I don't believe that I talked to our supervisor about this. He's trying to get in touch with the owner as well to see if we can get this taken care of.
Yeah, this is beyond anything we can do at this point. I just want to see it closed off this list. I mean, I understand. I own a business. I understand he's busy. But I think we're at a loss or at a standstill. And how do we?
This is an enforcement of an issue of a requirement. It's not a planning commission zoning, because the planning commission is an enforcement board.
Right.
That's why this one's on the list. It kind of sits here because it hasn't.
Our hands are tied. We can't really do anything with it at this point.
So, but we can make the township board aware of the fact, and what I was asking for when we were talking about this last month was a date on these. All of these need a date. For some of us that have not been on this commission for very long, we have absolutely no idea how old these are. So it would be good to have a date on these for how long they've been marinating on this list with no action. And I think that's good for the board to understand, because they are the enforcement arm of the township, not us. But at least we can make a recommendation to the township board to take a look at the engineering list that we have, and then they can decide what they want to do with it. But
If we could, I could go through just do a general update with this, and I had some discussion points. I did see that was a discussion last month. So if I go through this just to kind of get the formal update of the projects out, we're going to talk about formats and different information like that. If that's okay with the commission.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Second, DT minus substation. Again, you're well aware that they have an open application or open construction plan, and again, I think it's just they don't want to replace all the trees because they were small and they're growing. So until then, once they do that, there were some erosion issues that we did notify the county on, some soil erosion issues just through the lack of maintenance, and nothing major. Some washouts, some of the stones, some of the riprap that had needs to be repaired and cleaned. We did make the soil erosion department, the county soil erosion department, aware of those issues. It's nothing leaking the site, it's internal, so that's why it's not a hot topic item for the county, but they are aware of it. Pinecrest, I think there's some confusion on the Pinecrest 2, 3, and 4. But I said the no change. The staff is still balancing the building area of the various parcels, units. several areas, when we were out the last time in March, several areas in the public right away were observed to be damaged, either concrete trucks were dumping, cleaning their trucks out in a ditch or uphill, it's washing to the ditch. There's some areas next to the driveway where the edge of the road was cracked. And being that this isn't it is a local county road, but it's a county road commission jurisdiction. We did take several pictures of that and have it in our file. We notified the county highway engineer of this, and he was sending something out there. It would have been March 21st or 23rd. We notified them on Monday. So I haven't heard back what they did with that. There's a lot of activity in the home building, and not necessarily the Lombardo homes that has the application open, but the county was made aware of that. And why there's some question as to why this is still on the list. The only reason this is just kind of a status update. Lombardo Homes completed the project. They wanted to maintain an open, still balancing on the site for the building sites, all the individual lots, which wasn't part of the site plan in general. The road was done, approved, storm sewer was all done, approved. And we thought the way to handle that is we were keeping their money in file, their bond, the deposits, because they're still running through this project. Technically, all the infrastructure done is kind of unique. They wanted to go in and build the sites for all of them, build up the home sites. So after the project was done, we had to meet the township to technically keep this open as they're balancing. Once they're done balancing, we close this project out and go to the next just be individual home sites. So they still have the village are pulling permits for individual homes. So the soil and set are applying to the individual sites. Well, Lombardo, as an applicant to the township, is still moving dirt out there under this project, so that's why this is open. And typically, you see them wanting to get out, we're done, close everything out. But through an agreement, we kept their bond, we kept their money in place, because they are still internally moving, setting up the sites in agreement with the builders. So that's why you see this on here. And it's not a site plan issue. The infrastructure, everything, the roads have been turned over to the public. The soil and set is still active because of the work they're doing. That's why we're keeping this active, because they are still moving material up.
Have they submitted an as-built for the infrastructure, the underground?
Yeah, they do have an as-built. They had an as-built to the county road commission, which included the site outside of the road commission.
So they're going to give you a final grade cert on the overall project? Is that what the plan is then?
No, the individual houses come in and do their plans. This is basically open to make sure there's somebody accountable for all earthwork that's going on inside. So we're not going to ask for another as-built because they're building on these lots. They did provide a grade plan that showed the building platforms.
The overall grading plan? Okay,
So
very
they're
good.
working within that.
Okay,
In the being that it's the same contractor, same owner that did the project, that's why we're keeping this open. So we can kind of, instead of pulling a new bond for each site, which really we can't do for building sites, we're keeping it overall. And once they're done balancing, the sites are done, then we'll close everything. And they've been really good at work. We've had concerns at the time with erosion of trucks, Lombardo trucks working, and they've been responsive.
so the only thing left out there then is the grading?
Is the internal unit grading for the house, they're just building platforms.
Thank you.
And to kind of talk through this again, there is some talk about the final phase, and it's been called phase 4, it's been called phase 5. When they initially did this project, it was pre-COVID, they had approvals and everything was ready, they built everything out, phase 2, 3, 4, for the main ones. Well, because it all came under the same guideline, it sat, they had to come to the township, go back to the road commission, get everything redone. The namesake stayed the same. They called it phase 2, which was essentially phase, the original plan 2 and 3. Phase 4 on the original plan was still left. They're calling it phase 4 or 5 now, I'm not sure. But it's just a little cul-de-sac that goes up and goes south in the southwest corner. We just had some correspondence with them regarding what they need to do. I informed them that the time frame, because they did have it on the overall plan, but they never submitted engineering drawings for that portion. So due to the time frame that they had to come back in front of the planning commission, show that full plans for that final phase, which is 10 houses. It's not a large segment of it. But they will be coming in front of the planning commission for that last phase.
So, the roads that the counties accepted, you did final inspection.
Yes.
That covers 2, 3, and 4, and there's still another road to be built out there?
There's the extension of the cul-de-sac to the southwest.
And that's what they might be calling 5?
Yeah, that, on their original plans, it's phase 4.
Okay.
But they were kind of absorbed everything together, so they're coming with a new plan for that final phase.
Alright.
You'll see that at the planning commission level. They're gonna, all indications are gonna follow everything that was previously approved for that area. They just got to provide additional detailed grading plans, and stuff like that. Setbacks, additional kind of lots. Legacy Metals, that's still waiting. Once the recall and the dumpster enclosures built, that would be the final punch list item for them. And any restoration is required for that. SMJ International, the site that was the communication tower
Have they communicated any time frame to you on that
for the,
dumpster?
no, we have not heard from them. We know I say that in late fall, early winter, say November, December, they did say that they were wanting to get at doing that. I don't think the weather permitted. They did have a contractor that was going to go in there, but we have not been notified that it's ready yet.
Did you skip over Jimmy's?
Yes.
You
Not
gonna,
on purpose.
okay.
Jimmy's storage, we know that one. There has been since, to my knowledge, I went through there just to drive through in March. There hasn't been any change to that since they kind of stopped in the fall. They have a couple building pads left that the structures aren't on. My understanding is they're going to build those. And it's short of their initially approved phase 1, but they want to shorten that up to a phase 1 only for that part. And so it's, again, they'll be an as-built. They come in and say, this is where we're stopping on phase 1. They did build all the infrastructure beyond that, the storm sewer and everything that is in place. They're just, as far as the buildings, they want to stop short just to see how the business does before they expand further. And they still have to plant the trees along the north line that we've talked about a couple of times. They have them along the west and south coming up through. They're not planting them on the north side. So they realize we need change in the fall.
Which is why I'm concerned about not getting those north trees. If they decide, if they build out and decide not to continue further, we may not get those trees on the north side.
Well, the north trees are part of phase 1.
Okay.
All that landscape is phase 1.
That's-
So they want
yeah, that-
occupancy and to open up the building, they have to put that in.
No, that's a given. They have to put them in, no matter where they stop.
If they're gonna get occupancy, that's phase 1. All those are phase 1, so if they want occupancy and to get a final for that. Is it inspection and is engineering where they stop isn't really an issue on as far as engineering, because the detention pond is built fully, which they have to do some maintenance on that. That's fully built, storm sewer is fully built. What they built to date with the pavement things per plan. So if they want to stop at phase 1, that's fine, but the additional landscape, that was all firmly put in there as phase 1, so they would have to do that to get occupancy.
Thank you.
They did have a setback. I don't know if you noticed, they lost some of the building the last windstorm, but looks like they've recovered.
I guess that was one that was been after we were out there the first part of March.
Yeah, it was near the end of March. They had that big those windstorms. They lost a good portion of the westmost buildings. But it looks like they recovered and got them repaired.
Okay. Again, the communication tower site, I think there hasn't been any progress on the punch list, which is some grading. If there hasn't been any activity or any correspondence, just send something out. I don't know, that was just kind of, I wouldn't recommend any action until we get the site on the, I believe the road commission had some issues with it too, so they had to call it up front. And just put the guy there.
So is it operating?
That I don't know. I don't do that.
Sure seems like it.
I believe
Drive down
So-
the road.
So then they obviously got occupancy without finishing up
I
their
don't
site
get part
plan.
of it. I don't do, we do the site plan.
I believe it is operational.
So, okay. my point is that they're operating and they don't have the completed site plan, which is my point on the other one. So apparently they were able to move forward without finishing out the site plan that was approved by the planning commission. And now we're hounding them like we're hounding the one at the top of the page. So I don't know. I just feel like sometimes we're chasing our tail here, but okay. Thank you.
And then Southern Truck, they had some of the concerns they had out there was we can see the activity since our last inspection. We did do an as-built ourselves on the detention pond. It was not where it needed to be, so it looks like they've done quite a bit of work here just recently. They did have the fence, the trees removed, the material in place. I think there was some question on what we consider substantial completion.
Yes.
Substantial completion is always, we were doing inspections, primarily the major ticket items. So it's basically whatever the large items, if you're doing a road, the road's in, ditches are in, and they have to do the restoration, stuff like that. Based on all indications, they didn't call for a final. They had pretty much everything there except for trees planted along the side. They had them in the back. And it looked like, to their knowledge, the detention pond was done. They did a little work on it, so that's when we did our inspection. Substantially complete means most of the major items are in, but it's not final. So that's kind of, there's a partial, substantial, and final. So when we get to substantial, it means if the major items are done, we're just waiting to generally clean things up, final punch list, do some other items, but it's in our March inspection, we noticed the detention pond wasn't where it was supposed to be, it was kind of graded out. So they're working on that part. And that's how we've always classified what we've done. It's substantial. If you look at the project, generally follow the cost estimate that they provide. The major things are pretty well done in writing and substantial. We're just kind of going through the final inspection.
Yeah, because I remember looking at substantial complete, and there was this huge mound of dirt that was still parked there. So that's why I was questioning what substantial complete was when you've still got this mound of dirt.
Like when we did the inspection before, the large mound of dirt considered by the detention pond really wasn't part of it. The detention pond was kind of clean, was built out a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot of activity. And that's just something that we kind of use. We've always used the terminology. It doesn't impact final at all. If they do something and they have move some more dirt, but it's still looking fine. So it's just a terminology that we use.
Thank you.
And I will say it is subjective. There's not a required incentive. It's 75, 85, 95. It's basically a judgment on the majority of these items are done. So we can do that. So any questions on the status of the projects? There's been very little activity yet. I'm anticipating that to start up here in April.
The only question I would have, go back to your question, Bonnie, on the dates. What
Date of approval.
date of what?
Approval. You have pre-construction meetings for all of these, right? I mean, you can put pre-construction meeting date down, whatever you want, but just a date rather, your project number doesn't mean anything to anybody here, right? So
Would the question be, was it extended? I can tell you, the first one on the list was approved in 2019, but it's been extended as a site plan. I don't know if it's good right now, but what date of the approval, I don't know.
So how long do they have on an extension before they have to come back for another extension?
Probably a year.
It's every year.
Have they been back? I've been on the commission for a year.
No, we stopped doing the annual reviews. I don't think we've had an annual review
In 2 years.
in 2 years.
Yeah, because they deemed to be worthless. We have no enforcement capacity
I understand
in
that.
our charter. So it's nice to have the people come forward and be part of the community, but they really don't want to come forward. They don't want to, for whatever reason.
And maybe it's original approval date and extensions, something that we can then forward on so the township board has some idea of, we're still waiting for, let's see now, 7 years?
Yeah, so the way this document kind of evolved was over time, like, so it's kind of a response on the planning commission at the time. We were talking about different projects and we were just going through verbally doing things. So this kind of came up, hey, just, can you quickly write up something on the different projects that you're working on? And that's where this evolved, and we kind of stuck with that. There really wasn't, it was just kind of general update. It wasn't specific to anything. But times changed, different commissions want to see different things. So this document I gave you really wasn't anything, something I put together in 15 minutes just as a starting talking point. But what this does, it gives you the name, just the name, like a township number, our number, because we'd be using the document also, application date, contingent approval, because I think where projects tend to get lost on our end of it is you can get a contingent approval where you just got to do this quick thing, come back. But the final approval is generally when they bring those, they address those, we review, say it's good, and the planning commission chair signs the plans. That's always been the tradition. Sign the plans with the date. You're officially approved, time's clock's ticking. A lot of times we don't have that part of it, so that's why it's a working document. It has to be something, whatever format, something between the township and our end. Then we set, once we get the okay, yep, they submitted that stuff, then we set a pre-construction meeting. And that's really when site planning stops, construction starts. So that's why I put on, it was an idea, again, just a talking way to go through a contingent approval, final approval. And if there are any extensions on it, I have that as a column if there's an extension date. And then is the site plan active, yes or no? Because sometimes it comes up by a lot of these, they have contingent when they don't have final approval yet. Is it active? No, nothing's changed, so not active. Then we have a pre-construction date, construction active, yes, they started or they're currently working. And then I just have a thing for when you have comments and you put a date and you have a comment. And then the final thing would be a final construction approval. And usually when that's on there, that'd be informational, and the next month it'd be off. So this is just a kind of idea of what we go through when we're kind of checking things. But a lot of times we don't have official final approval dates, but we have, when they had a contingent meeting, and we have our pre-con. We get the notification they're all good. We set a pre-construction meeting.
So I have an idea that might help us to get the information, is if there was almost 2 dates on some of them. If we had the pre-construction date, and then if they got occupancy and are in there, because I think that would clear a lot of it. Like the first one on the list, I'm assuming they have occupancy operating. And then it would be after the pre-construction, and some of them, like Pinecrest, they don't really, pre-construction would probably do it, would be the only day. That way you could have. You have to update it and see once it's finished, because sometimes the projects take longer than a year. And if they're making headway, like, that doesn't seem to bother anyone. But when they get idle, if they're using the site, like Midas Substation is using the site.
Yeah.
So you could have their occupancy date, and then that to me is really where they're dragging it out. It should have been done when they had occupancy. That's the date of how long have they been dragging it out from. If they're supposed to have a year, and it took them 16 months, and they were making headway every month, fine. But those are the 2 dates that I think might help us whittle down the list, or have a tab on the list of what, how long it's been idle with no change.
Yeah, there's some you could add if you do something like that. You could add a temporary C of O, because those do happen in certain cases. They're not encouraged,
Right.
but they have a temporary C of O and then you have a C of O. And that would kind of be, and you'd like to have both of those after the final construction approval date. That's when you would have that in it. But sometimes like a temporary C of O could fit in there. If everything's in, it's a big project, everything's in, you're holding bond money back, but it's not season to plant the trees. Sometimes you do something on that avenue. But even at that, that's not really encouraged, but that's when I see that happen. DT was a little bit different. It wasn't involved with that, but I fully understood why they had in there. That was a major infrastructure type thing, but that's we held the money and the bonding back. So yeah, there's things you can you can add on for clarification. I mean, this is whatever helps the planning commission, because really, like I said, once you get to site plan approved and done, that's really planning commission, then it moves into construction, unless something changes during construction, and they would come back here to provide an as-built update or what have you. But this is just my quick get in there based on some comments that were last meeting, that we could go to this format. Have no problem with that. Probably the comments wouldn't be as in-depth, well, they could be. But you would have a general site of still working on project, progressing. Reaching final, anticipate, we can shorten it up a little bit. This was just more of a narrative format. That this has been used for quite a while. It's just like everything else can be updated, changed, and more specific, so.
And some of those dates can be added in by the township too, so if
Yeah.
you got it over to the township, they might be able to throw those dates in,
Yeah,
so we could get it completed.
like we have a contingent, Ida will call me and said everything's in here, they got the fees and everything's in, so we set the pre-construction meeting. And we can sit as a team, the pre-construction meeting, say, okay, well, what was the official date for approval, and just write it in and go on with the meeting. So there's definitely back and forth that can happen pretty easily. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
So with this one, I don't think this isn't anything formal, so if there's any commissioners that have ideas like adding C of O information,
Well, I was just thinking on this sheet when Ronnie was looking at the dates, I thought one of those 2 dates might be helpful, because I do like this update more, so this allows
Yeah,
you to look at a lot of these dates you don't really need, but either pre-construction meetings, so when did it really start? Because sometimes there's some time between site plan approval and pre-construction.
Sure.
Pre-construction is when they really want to start
Well-
putting shovels in the ground.
yeah, a lot of times you can have that pre-construction meeting before the site becomes active. That's why I wanted to have is an active yes or no, because we've had pre-construction meetings, and they say, yep, we're going, and 4 months later, they're still not going. So so I'd like to have we had the meeting at this date, but they're still not active. But yeah,
Either one of those, I think, would be close enough, and then if they either had a temporary or a permanent COO. I think those are the ones that are more the sticking points than the other ones, though.
Oh.
And then you could know with like
An
the
extension.
communication tower, they don't have a COO, but it's clearly operating because we use Verizon phone service, and it's Verizon tower, and my phone works much better near that tower than it used to.
So yeah, I can definitely add dates like that and move to this format. If there are any other comments or anything with it, just let me know. You can shoot me an email or call the office, what have you. This really was a thought during the day today. Hey, I'll just put a format together for discussion. So there's nothing magical to this. It's not from anything. It's just something I thought these are the things I deal with when I go through the project. So
I think the township would make a copy of this, seeing those dates and all, they would either might prod that along a little bit.
yeah.
But this in and of itself doesn't do much.
No, that was never the intent for this. Yeah,
On this list.
yeah, that was never the intent for this. This was just to provide a monthly if anything changes on these projects.
I would say the top is where probably the most points. So I think our annual, I can tell you, EPD came in probably 2 years ago, asking for a 6-month extension. And then we ran a 6-month extension.
Well, like I said, that if they would have came in with the trees at the height they're supposed to, they'd be done.
They were so close.
So, nope.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they have been moving. I mean, just closed for the construction season, pretty much.
Thank you, Corey. I think that'll be a big help to everyone involved.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, we do have high school students. They've been here over an hour.
They're still awake?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think? It's your government at work. Pretty dry stuff, but it's got to get done. You have paperwork you need to have signed? Yeah, come on, bring them on up and we'll be happy to.
Is this the part where they do their speech and introduce everybody, or is that?
I think we'll waive that this time.
Set it back down.
Yeah, we've always asked this in the past, hold on, just one second, just entertain me for another minute or two. How long, have all of you lived here your whole lives, or a good portion of it, or are you new to the area? Yeah? Okay, so just close enough. What are your future plans? Are you guys all going to college? You all going to trade school? You all trade school? Yeah, you gonna stay in the area, or are you gonna? Yeah. You? Anybody else? Any ideas? Any plans? No? Okay. Well, at your age, that's not a bad that's not a bad philosophy. Yeah. Okay. Actually, that's probably the best idea I've heard all day. That's a license to print money there.
That's how you pay for the water bill.
Yeah, until you get a $40,000 water bill. All right, thank you, and glad you guys came. Yep. Ida, the floor is yours. Pardon? Oh, did I miss? Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped right over it. I apologize, Tom.
And he's got something to say.
I got something to say.
Looks like he's got a report.
I don't have a report. ZBA will be meeting next week for our first meeting of the year. So I will report back in the May meeting how that goes.
Do they have a similar item in their charter, like we have to meet a minimum of 4 times a year? They do not. So if nothing comes up, nothing is.
You can go 5 years, no problem. On the run for life.
Really? Okay. It was just a curiosity I had.
Which is why they have a special meeting to approve the minutes from the meeting that they had the variance, so that can start the clock ticking for lawsuit. So
We'll let them
tie that up and let it go.
continue the meeting. It's just strange to me.
Okay. I didn't want to get into a deep discussion. It was just a curiosity I had, because we've had not reports, but we've had comments throughout the duration that I've been on the planning commission that nope, no meeting. So, okay. Thank you. I don't know if I'd say that, but okay.
That was your outside voice.
That was, yeah, Mike was on, sorry. All right, now, zoning and building report, Ida Lloyd.
Just to let everybody know, I heard from Total Asphalt. They will be working at the mobile gas station on the Dryden Road access drive. They want to repave that. They will need to get their permit through the road commission before they do that. Just FYI to everyone, so don't think that they're changing their site plan. They're just, doing some maintenance on their driveway.
But it's actually on the mobile gas station property, not the county road. I mean, it's going to be.
Well, it's in the road easement.
Yeah.
So they have to get a permit from the Lapeer County Road
Yes.
Commission, so.
So it's just maintenance on existing asphalt.
Well, they're going to, I think she said they were going to change it, because it's concrete, they're gonna change it to asphalt.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so the apron is, yeah. And let me see, what else did I have? I think Corey's already explained to you that we're hearing, from Pinecrest. They're very anxious to start phase 4/5, whatever you want to call it. But they've been anxious to get that going, because they are selling out there. So they need to finish that up. let's see. Oh, big one. Everyone, you should have received in your email a rezoning application. He has paid his fee. I've talked to Caitlin. She says she can do her review, so we can set this up for May 13th, if the planning commission is willing.
If all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted and
Well,
checks clear.
May 13th, I need to know if May 13th is okay, because our clerk will be leaving on vacation, and she needs to get the notices and stuff out, so.
You mean for a public hearing? Yeah, public hearing.
So if we have to wait, then it's not going to happen until June.
Well, the only thing I would caution there, that meeting could be full. Is Blake going to also?
Caitlin or I have heard from Blake's.
I wouldn't want to do two on the same night or have any.
Well, Blake's can then wait till June, I guess, because by the time because if our clerk is on vacation, we can't send out the notice, we can't do a lot of things until she gets back, so. But we could get the rezoning for that property on the corner of Tub Springs and Van Dyke for May 13th.
So it hasn't been reviewed, and we don't know if it meets our.
Well,
Well, so
we
the
did-
application's been submitted, and so typically there's the timer associated with the application. So they met the deadline for the application. Based on the paperwork they filed, it's sufficient with the concept plan that they provided to do the evaluation. So I would say, generally speaking, we should proceed with this application. I think we evaluate where we want to be when Blake's comes through. If they do meet the application deadlines, that is then 2 rezoning decisions, and then it's strategically putting one on the agenda and then the other one. If we feel like there's time and capacity, of course.
So this should have been a late agenda item for us to make
No,
action?
it has to be a public hearing. So typically, it doesn't require planning commission action because traditionally, you've always accepted the application if it met the deadline, and then you provided a review, and we automatically put a public hearing for that rezoning.
It's just an administrative function, is all we had. That's where the conversation we're having now is more of an administrative function than any planning commission action.
Okay, thank you.
So, maybe I'm misunderstanding. So if the deadlines are met,
You're my son.
if the deadlines are met to be on the following meeting, you don't have to accept that on the meeting?
The chair puts the agenda together, I just type it up.
Yeah.
No, I know that, but if we have dates where if you submit everything and it's correct, then you can make the next scheduled meeting, there's fine print to that? I'm asking.
Caitlin can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe if they've done everything they need to do, we're obligated to have a public hearing.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. So even if Blake's got everything in and we had two, we, to me, wouldn't really have a choice. And
Other than the fact that if they're not in under the wire.
no, if they meet the deadlines though, then I would assume we're obligated to, whether there's one public hearing or 6. I mean, that's,
But they don't have to be on the same night as a regular meeting either.
okay. I don't know how that's written and what the,
Well, what do you mean by they don't have to be on the same
We
regular?
can call a special meeting if there's
Yeah.
a conflict.
Yeah, you could, but I think it's relatively reasonable to have 2 public hearings for rezonings on one meeting. I don't know where we would sit with the solar text amendment. That would be what I would bump, because that's more of an administrative function, as much as we'd like to take that off our list. But otherwise, applicants are paying customers, and it makes sense to put them as a priority.
I guess that's kind of where I'm looking at it from the other side, that if I met my deadlines for submission, I would expect to be
Process.
processing on, the next
I
meeting.
agree 100%. My point being, I can't make a decision today on Blake's because we don't have anything.
No, yeah. But
I agree.
even if two applications came in on the same day and both met that timeline, and then it's our responsibility that they get reviewed in that time frame. I mean, and I don't mean it in an offensive way to Caitlin, but if 4 came in on the same day, that's the timeline that the planner has to review those and get them to us. Then we should be obligated to.
I see your point.
That popped up with saying, oh, we might be too busy to have 2 hearings, and that was my head kind of went, wait a minute, that more of a procedural question, I guess, than.
Some communities have an ongoing busy items that they do have thresholds. They're not willing to do more than like 6 public hearings in a meeting. We are not one of those.
Right.
Good job, everybody. But some communities do have thresholds where if you first come, first serve.
Right.
But we don't have a formal policy, but some communities do warn applicants, look, you're going to be the 6th item on the agenda. We have a site plan, 2 rezonings. This is going to be a very long meeting. And if we get to the 2-hour point, we close business. So you may not even be addressed that night. So sometimes we do coach applicants if it is a full agenda and let them make that decision then for themselves. Are you willing to risk you may or may not be heard based on these other controversial issues that came into the agenda first?
And I've got a note here that you, the planning commission, is going to look at setting the public hearing for the solar ordinance next month, providing you get the information back from the attorney. So, I mean, that more than likely is not going to be a May agenda. That isn't a May agenda.
No,
And if our clerk is out of the office and no one else has made an application, I doubt if we're going to have any more on May.
so
Because Blake's has to go through from the beginning again, from our meeting with them.
okay.
So,
What's the deadline for publicizing the public hearing?
well, a public notice has to be in the paper 15 days prior to, not less than 15 days prior to the scheduled meeting.
So our main meeting is the 13th of May.
Mhm.
And we
So
publish on
public
Wednesday.
hearing, the
Yes.
Notification would have to be somewhere the last week in April.
Mhm.
So isn't Jenny gone just like next week?
I don't know how long Jenny's gone. If she's gone for the week, we may have time, we may
So-
not, depending on what
Fif-
comes in.
15 days prior is April 28th.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
publish on a Wednesday, which means the newspaper usually requires it that Monday prior. So it has to
Right.
be ready to go to the press usually by noon on April 20th.
Yes,
April 20th?
Correct,
Yes.
because we publish on a Wednesday and it
Yeah.
has to have 15 days.
yeah, the newspaper requires
Yeah, they
at
cut-
least a week's notice.
A little more than 10 days to.
So if she's gone all next week, is it a reasonable expectation to say she has 4 hours to
Yeah.
write the notice and put it into the paper? But we can cross that bridge when we get there.
So I have for May, the audit. Right? We're putting that under old business? Okay.
We're going to discuss what comes of the.
And
Meeting on
then
Monday.
you're gonna set the public hearing for the solar ordinance, depending on the attorney. And then we have the rezoning application 26-01. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else that you want on the agenda? Okay.
Thank you. Any additional general comments? Any other news or items or?
I have one more. Maybe Dennis can take that to the board, I guess, or a question of when the clerk is out of the office.
Say again, didn't I hear you?
I said when, maybe something you can ask the board about, or maybe someone knows, when the clerk is out of the office, we don't have any redundancies set for posting hearings. I mean, business doesn't stop.
Her deputy can do it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
that's
that.
Oh,
I agree with Nick, there's gotta be a.
well, so then what is the hang up on Jenny being gone if the deputy can do it?
within the 300 feet. I don't know if her deputy can do that as well as Jen can, but.
Back to there needs to be redundancies and business carries on. And same with like the building department, if someone's gone and you call for an inspection on a certain day, that inspection would need to be done whether the inspector's available or not. There needs to be contingencies and redundancies for that.
We'll follow up tomorrow. That's a good question. I think it's a very valid.
Like if Jenny's gone, if she takes 2 weeks off, good for her, but someone needs to be able to do it. Right.
Yeah, there are functions that have to be carried out every day.
We shouldn't be planning public hearings around if the clerk's in the office.
No, I'm just saying that.
I'm not knocking on you.
She's not going to be here, so she got it done today, and we'll have it to the newspaper, and the notice will be sent, if not tomorrow, Monday.
Right, but if another one happened to come up or not even in this situation when Jenny's gone and she's gone, there needs to be a plan that can get posted.
Agreed.
Is all the point I'm.
And she has a very confident deputy who can do that.
What was the comment about the 300 feet?
Public notices are sent out to all property owners within 300 feet.
Oh, 300 feet of the property.
Right.
Okay, I'm just like, yes, okay, I know that. I wasn't understanding what that had to do with her being out of the office.
Well,
It's twofold. The 300-foot notice has to go out just like the public
Yes,
notice.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I got. I make a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn by Kevin, supported by Dennis. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.